Philippines declare state of emergency, guys. This is a breaking news that I just find out about. It has fuels only for 45 days, according to BBC. Let's go and watch this because this breaks my heart. You know how much I care about the Philippines, and think about all this because of a moron. And I don't want to go into the politics. It really breaks my heart.
Well, the economic fallout from the US-Israel-Iran war continues. The president of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., has declared a state of national energy emergency in response to the Middle East conflict and what he is calling an imminent danger that is posed to the country's energy supply. Let's take you live to Manila. We can join our Asia business correspondent, Suranjana Tawari, who is there for us. What did the president say, Suranjana?
Yes, Lucy, this came in the form of an executive order which, as with the US, it allows the government to take steps, to take measures legally without having to go through Congress for approval. But this has really been bubbling under the surface. The Philippines has seen numerous price hikes since the conflict started in the Middle East. And one issue is that 98% of the Philippines' oil supplies comes through the Persian Gulf.
98.
And so the country has really been suffering from everything from transportation to the price of rice, which has more than doubled as well, because of course rice has to be transported from wherever it's imported from into the cities and out to the rural areas as well. There was another rate hike just today, and that takes the price of diesel and petrol as well to more than double since the conflict started. So what does this executive order mean? Well, it gives the government powers to control the distribution of food. It also is able to control movement and so reduce the reliance on energy as much. And there's also a big question mark because there were demonstrations organized for this coming Thursday and Friday. Emergency powers generally mean that the government can stop those types of demonstrations, but we've not heard anything about that just yet.
They're obviously protesting over the hardship that all of this is causing. Has there been any commitment from the president, Suranjana, for cash or for financial assistance for ordinary people?
Yeah, there's been subsidies, there's been handouts of subsidies and long queues in order to get them. But, you know, many drivers of buses, there are these open buses that you have here in the Philippines that most people commute on. They're very colorful, and it's estimated that in Manila alone, 9 million people use those every day. But the drivers that we spoke to said those subsidies are not enough to cover the rent of those buses, and that they really need help with being able to increase prices, fares for their customers, and that's something else that the government controls. So perhaps with these measures, that could help as well. But the other issue is that, you know, those buses also transport kids to school, children all over the country, and they're not able to provide those services. And then, as I mentioned, food getting around the country is also a problem. Now, the government's implemented a number of other measures. It has already implemented a 4-day working week for office goers. It's also asked government employees to use the stairs instead of lifts. So there are these piecemeal measures, but this is really the biggest measure yet. And we understand that this is the first country in the world to declare some sort of emergency as a result of the disruption to oil supplies in the Middle East.
Oh my God, guys. We're going to continue the video in just a bit. I want to show you something over here. These are the prices, more or less, that was a couple of days ago. And we're talking about, I'm putting Italy and the Philippines side by side. Of course, the salaries are really different also, but the increase was almost double. So a couple of days was the gasoline at 70 pesos and the diesel 80. Well, now we're talking about more than 100, 103, 110 pesos, and the gas as well. So this is insane. I'm sorry about the kids that are suffering, people for food. I mean, what the hell is going on to this world, honestly? And now in the second part of this video, we're going to see that there is a problem with the flights as well. I understand that a lot of flights can be grounded, so a lot of people cannot come home or going back to work. This is insane, what's happening, honestly. Let's go and watch this.
The global oil war is now hitting the skies. The Philippines has issued a stark warning. Airlines may soon be grounded as jet fuel shortages begin to bite. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. says the situation is worsening fast, with supply disruptions linked directly to the escalating Iran conflict. What started as a regional war is now threatening global aviation. In a chilling admission, Marcos revealed that several countries are already refusing to refuel Philippine aircraft. Airlines are now being forced to carry fuel for both onward and return journeys, a costly and unsustainable workaround. Long-haul routes, he warned, are at the greatest risk. And if the crisis deepens, grounding flights may no longer be avoidable. The impact is already visible. Budget carrier Cebu Air has announced plans to cut flights starting next month as fuel prices surge. Across Asia, the aviation sector is bracing for turbulence. Vietnam Airlines is suspending routes, while Vietjet Aviation is reducing frequency. The domino effect has begun.
These are the prices of today. Look,
Behind the scenes,
103.
a deeper energy crisis is unfolding. The Philippines, heavily dependent on Middle East oil imports, is now scrambling for alternatives. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin says the country may ramp up coal usage to keep electricity costs under control, even as global LNG prices spike. A temporary fix, but a telling sign of the pressure building.
My God, guys. And I hope...
There's also confusion within the government. While the president warns of possible flight groundings, energy officials insist airlines still have enough fuel for now. But the bigger picture is clear. Asia is edging closer to an aviation squeeze not seen in decades. If the oil shock worsens, the fallout could ground not just planes, but entire economies.
Guys, I wanted to say about the president. I hope your president now, I know what Philippines it has, because we have the videos on the channel, some history of corruption, but I hope this president, it's not like that. This is a thing that I don't know. I'm going to dive even deeper with, the next videos, but you can tell me down below, and I hope he's going to do something about it for the people, because this is what pisses me off. I mean, why the Filipino people has to endure all this? Food, children not going to school, and all that kind of stuff. Why? I don't want to go into the politics. Maybe I will get banned if I'm saying something that I shouldn't. Oh my God, man! I'm sorry that I have to bring this kind of videos on the channel, because here we dive into history, into cuisine, into the beauty of the world, of the other countries, of the Philippines, especially, in order of the voices, the people, the laugh. The strength. But this just broke my heart, man, because I'm thinking about the repercussions that it has on the people, and I hope this is gonna be end soon. But it's crazy seeing those prices over there and over here as well, honestly, but over there as well. The government here, it's like a couple of days ago, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago, it just cut off like 25 cents at the liter for a period of time. I'm not sure how long, but I'm seeing in the Philippines 7 pesos, 10 pesos, 15, 20 a liter. Those are a lot of money. Gathering those together for a family that can barely afford to go on, it's a lot of money. And God, I'm really pissed off of all this shit. Sorry. Anyways, guys, keep being strong. And then another thing, people that are working abroad and are trying to come back home to visit their family or going back to work, now with this whole thing with the planes, they don't know, should I go, should not, you know, it's crazy what's happening, honestly. Anyways, keep being strong. Like I was saying, you always fought, you always were resilient from your history. There is in your DNA, and this will pass. You will thrive, and you will be fine. I'm really sorry. I'm with you with all my heart, guys. So keep being strong. Let me know what you want to see on the channel next, your thoughts about this, and like I always say, stay safe and stay strong.